Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, welcome everyone. Let's get started. It's so humid out. I actually have every window open. It's what, December 18th, and I'm sweating. Now, granted, I just got a shower and ran to the computer, but still. Okay, so everyone get in. All right, so I got a few text messages yesterday. Ant, have you seen the price? Yeah, that was me. So what you will see is, well, actually at like, hey Frida, I think at like $1.22, someone had sold 1,100 or whatnot. Now today there's a lot of Rhino that comes online. We're mailing that out later today. I don't know what time. I got to give it to my team and they do the automations and they'll get all the distributions out, but it's close to 60, 70,000 Rhino. It's a lot. Now, I believe there's 289,000 Rhino on the market, so plus 70,000, you're looking at 360,000. Now, what percentage of that gets sold? Now, this is Rhino people purchased at 50 cents. So there might be some people that are like, hey, let me get out, or let me get out at this price. Or there might be some people that are like, well, at 50 cents, I would have sold at like 250. But now it's sitting at 90 cents and, I'll hold it for a little bit. So we don't know what that number looks like, but that is going to be out today. So when I saw some selling yesterday and kind of like a little bit the day before, but in large bulk, like 435 here, 1,100 here, it just made me realize, you know what? Hey, Deb, let me kind of fortify this a little bit, right? And I always say this, I say it like 1,000 times. My only loyalty is to Rhino long term. I have no interest in people day trading. Now, that's not to say, right? Like let's take two things and make them separate, right? That's not to say, well, Ant, you also have to honor the people that got in on this deal, because if you then go ahead and annihilate them before the deal actually comes through, then what's your ethics to them? And I completely agree, which is why I left it at $1. Right? So it's not, well, Anthony decides what price he feels like. Anthony has to decide and take a look at the supply and demand and see what's happening, while making sure that he walks a line where he's ethically and morally okay with. So what I did was I think it was like 1,000, 2,000. That's all me. You can look at the ledger, right? It says like EBF or something. I think that's the end of our wallet. And upon selling it into, we take the BUSD and then put it right back into the liquidity. So if you actually take a look at the market, you'll see, oh, well, it came down from 122 to 95 cents. Yeah, sure. What's the liquidity pool still 98,000? Well, how is that possible? The thing dropped 30 cents. How is it? Oh, because the proceeds were then put right into it, right? So Anthony has not, nor ever will sell any Rhino for himself, ever. Well, maybe in like 5-10 years, maybe at some point, right? Like not yet. So that's that. Now that Rhino will go out at some point today. I imagine by this time tomorrow, Rhino will be a lower price, and that's fine. Again, if anyone is, hey, my life depends on what the price is today and tomorrow, well then sell. Like I'm telling you ahead of time. Like I think people are going to sell. If your life depends on the price of it tomorrow, sell. Now, I do have to fully disclose that by me saying that, I'm also speaking in my own selfish interest. Now, I'm not speaking selfishly, but I do need to disclose that if you sold and you lowered the price of Rhino, that I personally would then be able to buy a whole bunch more with the money that I'm buying every day. So I do need to make sure that I do walk the line properly of financial disclosures. I believe that there will be some selling between today and tomorrow, because I believe that if your finances depend on the price that it is right now, and in 24 hours, if it's lower, that will upset yourself and those that depend on you, then I think you should sell. But by doing so, you will lower the price of Rhino, which means anyone that is buying Rhino, i.e. me, will be directly benefiting from your sale. So if you understand all of that, do what you must, right? Like I think everyone should do what they must. What I'm going to do is I don't think I'm going to buy any today. I think I'm just going to hold it, and instead of buying 500 today and 500 tomorrow, I think I'll just buy 1,000 tomorrow, because again, I think the price will be lower. And when I say I buy, it's not that Anthony's buying and putting it in his pocket. Anthony's buying into the liquidity pool, meaning if you were in a coma, right? Say you went into a coma a month ago in November, and the price was like 260, 270. And then you got out of the coma, let's say in April, and the price was 260, 270. You would say, nothing happened. Like I was in this coma and nothing happened. Wow, this is the most boring thing ever, right? Okay. I sent you an email before this call, please. Yeah, so Travis, I haven't looked at any emails yet, and I'm going to look at them all right after this call. So yeah, 100%. And you would say in this, oh, well, it's, this coma, it's been really boring. Nothing in the world has changed. But then you might take a look at the liquidity pool and say, wait a second. When I went into this coma, Rhino was worth, I don't know, 130,000. Now it's worth close to 400,000. How is that possible? The price is exactly the same, but the value is double or triple than where it was. And then you would take a look at the chart and say, all right, let me see what happened during this coma. And you would say, wow, it really dropped. But as it dropped, they just kept buying more and more and putting it away. Oh, so then when they stopped buying to put it away and actually started buying the price again, well, they had more of it. So for instance, if you have 10 of something that's worth $1, and then the price goes up to $2, well, you have 10 things that are worth now $2. So your ownings, like your holdings, would be worth $20. They went from $10 to $20. Now let's say you have 10 things worth $1, but instead of buying the price, you're just buying more at $1. So now you have 10 at $1, 15 at $1, 20 at $1, 25 at $1, 30 at $1. Okay. Well, the price didn't do anything. It's still worth $1, Ant. Now it goes from $1 to $2. What are your holdings worth? $60, right? Because I have 30 times 2. Wait a second. It's worth $20 over there, 10 times 2, but it's worth $60 over here, 30 times 2. What am I missing? Well, what you're missing is when the price came down, Anthony and Rhino had no motivation to blow smoke up anyone's butt. Oh, don't worry, it's going to go higher. And then like we're battling it to go higher and people are selling. No, you want to sell it, knock yourself out. Sell it all. Have fun. And then we'll take care of those that still believe. You see, I think also sometimes people forget I'm managing this market. I'm not manipulating it, right? Like I always tell you exactly what's happening. In fact, the day that big sell happened, earlier that morning, now again, I didn't know it was going to happen, but I do know when I get an email from someone taking a picture of themselves in their deathbed telling me that they have to manage their trust and get bone marrow from recipient, that kind of says to me, this person might be looking to sell. If this person does sell, it's going to hurt the price substantially. Let me just kind of like say out loud, again, I don't know what's going to happen, but that's not a risk that I would keep to myself, right? Like people matter. Hey, Andy. So that was that. So that's that. I mean, it is what it is. And it actually reminds me of Bitcoin. Now, we're not saying we're Bitcoin, right? Like, I'm not trying to have, blow smoke up anyone's butt, right? But when you take a look at Bitcoin, you see that it has these like crashes where it goes down 80, 90%. And even me, I never quite understood it. I'm like, oh, it just crashes and everyone's fine with it? Like, how is that even possible? How would anyone stay in that? Because I'm thinking stocks, right? Like, because I'm from Wall Street. So I'm thinking stocks. But when I'm thinking a stock goes down 80%, it's because, something really bad happened. So how does it then go back up and make new all-time highs? Well, Bitcoin's not a stock. The difference being Bitcoin is going through the adoption phase. Therefore, the amount of people that own it are so minuscule that any large sell or large anything would lower the price quite drastically because the liquidity is not there. Therefore, every time it got sold down, those that were like, okay, that does kind of make sense. Now it's at this price, great, they would buy. Therefore, now the adoption is larger. There's more Bitcoin in circulation. Therefore, every time it went up and somebody would sell, the blunt would be smaller and smaller because there's a larger cushion. There's more people that own it. And as you can see now, what would it take for Bitcoin to go down another 80%? Probably a lot. But do I think that's likely? No, but say it did happen, right? Like say, like, and no one needs to answer because I already know what your answer is going to be. And if it's not this answer, then you're lying to both me and yourself. If Bitcoin went down 90% today, right? It's now what, 40,000 or something? 90% is down to 5,000, right? So 10% would be 4,000. So if it went down 90, so yeah, so it would go down to 4,000. If Bitcoin went down to 4,000 today, would you buy it? Well, duh. Well, why is it so obvious? Why duh? Well, and we've seen it around a long time. It's in institutional hands. They're making ETFs. Like I don't really know why it went down, but I feel fairly confident that there's a big market for it. Therefore, I would get it at this price. Okay, great. Now, I'm not saying that's Rhino. Like I'm not saying that at all. The point being, that decision that you would have made at that moment is completely dependent and based on the fact that you know the adoption to be there. Great. That directly affects the price of it as it's going up, because as it goes up and then someone big sells, boom, boom, boom. But then that cushion builds and builds and builds, and it's like, okay, now we know the adoption's there. So that's just a commentary on price. So again, if you track it on a day-to-day basis, this month's probably not your favorite month. But if you track it on a longer term basis, well, Ant, it went public at $1. It's now under that, so it's still under. When I went public, the liquidity pool was $6,000. It's now, what, 98? What does that mean? It's up 1,500% since then. Yeah, not in price, but go X the person that sold 1,000. Go X the person that's on their deathbed, assuming that they're not dead yet, God bless. And I'm not making a joke of it, but I haven't spoken to them, right? But go X that person if in the time of need where they needed to pull out $25,000, if they're pleased that they were able to, because when the liquidity pool was 6,000, I can promise you that person would never ever be able to do that. So it's a matter of it's like when you get married, right? If you only pick someone because they're pretty, there's a good chance you'll be disappointed because everyone gets old at some point. And not saying that old people aren't good looking, but you're good looking to the person that you develop that love with, that you appreciate what's inside. So if you judge books by its covers, you're not a fan. If you judge books by the content, I think you're happy. I have no idea, but I hope so. And it's my goal and job to make sure that that happens. So that's that. Take the Traders Money. I haven't looked yet today. I know we sent out an email this morning. We have 24 participants, which is super, super cool. I don't know if more participants joined via that email. I will look again. I have not done emails yet. I'm going to do them right after this call. But take the Traders Money. I mean, we had 1, then we had 9, then we had 24. So it looks like it's going in the right direction. The Twitter ads, I don't think worked as well as we wanted. So I have to really take a look into that. I think the next thing we need to do with it is kind of look within, reach out to our existing community and say, hey, listen, did you appreciate it? Did you like it? Why didn't you like it? Whatever. We really like you to invite some other people. Like, can you, and be quite annoying. Because again, we did have 400 people with Rhino Wealth at one point, paying like $37 a month. So I know we have the list that would participate in something like this. Why we haven't had that adoption yet, I don't know. I think the emails we send out are more broad-based. Hey, everyone, and it's not really talking to that person. So I think this week I want to kind of speak to people more personally, which is fine, and I think that'll be good. Ted is going. Ted's becoming a pain in my butt. I really find Ted to be a real person, and he's like a real pain in the butt. The process of inventing something really is just so much trial and error and testing. And when people say, oh, I have to test it, it's a cute sentence. Oh, I'm testing. It's almost like I'm raising my children. It's one sentence, but what it actually entails is a headache every single day, every day. So we moved TED to the Turbo, but then OpenAI had a little bit of an issue with that because the Turbo is so smart that OpenAI is like, hey, listen, we don't retain people's data. Therefore, your AI can't tell people it's retaining data. So we have to kind of not fiddle with it, but just work within their guidelines. Therefore, we're building out this assistant thing now, and it's all to the same end. It's just how you get there. So I actually have to further edit the prompt today, get it over to my team. But from what I understand, I spoke to him yesterday, that the calls are working. So for instance, if you get on TED and take a picture of something or ask it to draw you something or speak to it, it does work. I haven't tested it, but they said it works, so I assume it does. So my goal for today is to get that prompt to them so that they have what they need, and then we have it caught up as of tomorrow. The cool thing is, so the reason why that comment would bother me is the fact that, okay, we have to finish this before we get to the next thing. And the next thing is TED being able to have a wake up word where it starts speaking just because you said, hey, TED. That's actually simultaneously being worked on. So the good news is, rather than me thinking, okay, 2 weeks is now becoming 3 weeks, and the thing we have to get, if the thing that we were planning on getting to on the 3rd week is now getting to the 4th week, which means 3 weeks in totality turned into 4 weeks, it's not exactly true. So the 2 weeks is turning into 3 weeks, but week 3 is still starting with the thing that needed to be started with. So the outcome still very could be 4 weeks and it's over or completed. So that's cool. So that's good news. I still want to come up with something for Christmas. I know I'm kind of running out of time. It's December 18th. Time is not my friend. It really isn't. The patent, I still haven't heard from our patent team, which actually kind of bothers me. It's been a week now. I have sent 3 emails, but like one of my investors I was talking to on the phone Saturday, I was like, don't worry, I emailed the patent team this morning. He goes, Ant, it's Saturday. I go, what is Saturday? And he goes, okay, I get it. You don't actually have a Saturday, but normal people do, especially like salaried workers, like patent people. I was like, well, I better hear from them, because my next step is I'll just call 1,000 times. Now but again, so the natural concern would be, oh my God, well, Ant, there's this great idea. What if they're stealing it? Well, no, patent people have patent numbers, like they're officials. Their whole business relies on their license, and everything is in our name. So I don't have a fear of that. Plus, we have the provisional patent. So even if this patent team decided to be like the least ethical people in the world, we'd be able to challenge it at every step of the way. So that's a concern which is natural, and it's the immediate concern I had. But I'm pleased to say it's a very misplaced concern. I think people are just people. It's like the quote of Steve Jobs: once you realize that everyone that built anything is as that's as average as you, or as normal as you, or something to the point of like something like that. Meaning, when you see, oh my God, look at this building over there, the person that built it must be amazing. No, it's like a regular guy. He puts his pants on by one leg at a time. There's rules, and he knows how to draw. He does his work. He does the architecture. He hires the people they build. Same thing with government officials, judges. Like, it doesn't matter. Everyone from any walk of life, they're people. They're just people. The dangerous part is when they believe that they're above and that rules don't matter to them. And there's a certain thing called humanistic gravity. I just quoted that, and I can promise you any human that's ever been alive understands that, whether they have just heard that term for the first time now or not. There is gravity. You cannot fly above the world and think that you have wings. That's called delusion. So that's that. All right, so that's really all I have today. Tomorrow, I'm inaccessible all day, so I can't do the call. We'll be back on the call Wednesday. I'm going to check all my emails now. The Rhino will be out by the end of today. I don't know what time. I still have to actually so I have who gets it and how much they get. Now I have to look up their wallet numbers, put that into my sheet, then take the sheet, send it to the team, move the Rhino over from wallet 1 to wallet 2, fund it with the BNB so it has the gas fee to send the Rhino. Hey, Rick, thank you. Send out the Rhino, and then it just gets done. And I purposely don't want to know the time, by the way. So if anyone's thinking like, oh, well, certainly he would know the time, or he, he's the one giving the orders. Yeah, I know. I purposely do not want to know the time because that doesn't even come close to fair to anyone. So if anyone's trying to do the race, I think, well, whatever. What you do is what you do. But I'm not going to be complicit in that, right? And I will always treat everyone exactly equal. So I don't know the time. I'm going to send it over, and I'm actually going to say, this will be the exact sentence. Send it whatever time you want, just let me know when it's done. So that's going to be that. Dev, you in the hearts, I love it. So that's kind of it. Big day. I'm actually kind of a little nervous with my emails, not because of this, but I had a very productive weekend with a lot of things, and I suspect not everyone is pleased with what I emailed them, and that's fine. I will get to their emails, but now I'm venturing into personal life stuff. So let me run. Love everyone. For those that are on Take the Trader's Money, I'll see you at 1 o'clock. And for anyone, and lastly, before anyone goes, if you ever see, because again, it is your due diligence, right? Regardless of if you're investing in something for a day, a week, a month, a year, doesn't really matter. It's not my business. But you should have some type of expectation, or at least some type of ability to kind of audit things. All right, well, I saw their balance sheet. Oh, all right, I saw their quarterly statement, like things like that. The reason that we chose Rhino to be on a blockchain was that anyone at any point, 24/7, can actually audit the entire ledger. Like, that's not in my control. I can't manipulate a ledger. The ledger is the blockchain. That's what makes it valuable. Therefore, when you go ahead to PancakeSwap or anything, just type in Rhino Bucks and you'll have a whole bunch of different websites that come up that will show you the price and yada, yada, yada. You can then, actually, if you go to rhinobucks.com with a CKS, so Rhino, BUCKS.com, that is our ledger from Binance. It's every transaction that's ever happened. The point being, when you see transactions of 1,000, 2,000, whatever the case, and you're like, wait a second, who sold that? For the most part, you're not going to have any idea because everyone's wallet is theirs privately. Like, we're never going to tell you, oh, 345 is Deborah's wallet. That's not a thing. Like, we would never ever do that. But you do know our wallet address. Everyone knows our wallet address because you can take a look at, well, you see us buying all the time, like it's there, and it's on the ledger that we're sending you to. Meaning, when you take a look and see, oh, wait, that's the Rhino wallet address. They're selling 1,000. Okay, let me take a look at this ledger. I'm on to Rhino. Let me see what, oh, but then they actually sent that 1,000, converted it to BUSD and put it back in there. Oh, so again, you could always ask me. That's fine. But it is my goal to teach you how to fish, even though I'm like, I will give you fish, if that makes sense, right? So love y'all, and I'll see you Wednesday. Bye.